am I in regard to the philosophy of the religious law and the Jesus character, their relation, being too strict? Am I being too critical of the figurative illustration that the Jesus character serves as a literary instrument to convey a very strong message against the philosophy of the religious law? Well, when we jump into the book of Isaiah 53, we get some perspective. Isaiah 53 and verse 2 reads, "For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him." He has no form, no comeliness, no beauty to be desired. Is this literal? Is the author of Isaiah giving a literal critique of someone's physical appearance, as if to say, wait a minute, no. This man is physically ugly. We cannot bear to hear that. Maybe if he looked a little better in the face, we could bear to hear what he's saying. This man is too ugly to be heard. Oh my goodness, is that what the author here is saying? Well, let's jump back a chapter, Isaiah 52. Isaiah 52, 13 and 14 reads, "Behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and be very high. As many were astonished at thee, his visage was so marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men." Well, here we go. We get what we need here. This critique is not toward the general population. This critique is not comparing this character here with the general population. 1. 2, this critique here is holding this individual to a specific population, the sons of men. And this individual's appearance or visage is more marred than the sons of men, which is why he cannot be tolerated. What does it mean? We see visage, we see this term visage in English, but what's the author here trying to say? Visage means mare, of sight, appearance, or vision, or of a phenomenon, spectacle, in a sense, appearance, vision, or of what is seen, supernatural in the sense of vision, or of sight, or of vision in the sense of power being seen. Jump into the Strong's, it is observed more as a view or also as an appearance or a thing that is seen. The countenance, one countenance being of goodly stock, of goodly form, one that is able to be easily looked unto. In context, 2 Samuel 14:27, "And unto Absalom there were born 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman of a fair countenance." This is visage. This is mare. 2 Samuel 23:21, "And he slew an Egyptian, a goodly man, a mare man." Daniel 1:4, "Children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, but mare, and skillful in all wisdom and cunning and knowledge and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace." Daniel 1:13, "Then let our countenances, then let our mare." Mare is this word used for countenances. So when we're looking at this term visage is surface appearance, well-favored, surface, well-favored appearance. In context, as the author of Isaiah in their 52nd chapter that we just read is letting us know, this appearance, this visage, this countenance, this well-favored, goodly form, it's not literal, it's not biological. This is in relation to the sons of men. The sons of men have a specific, well-favored, goodly appearance. This individual character lacks it. And because he lacks it, to them, he has no form. To them, he has no comeliness. To them, he has no beauty. We are going to see what this form is, what this comeliness is, and what this beauty is. Going back to Isaiah 52. Isaiah 52, 13 and 14. Behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and be very high. As many were astonished at thee, his visage was so marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. What does it mean to be marred? We've got visage down. We see marred in English. What does it mean to be marred? Probably gonna butcher this. Mishkoff. Mishoff. That's better. Mishoff. Disfigurement of face, corruption. In the Strongs, you've got marred, but also disfigurement, corruption. The sons of men do not have a disfigured visage. The sons of men do not have a corrupt form. From the perspective of what is out there, from the perspective of the author writing this, the sons of men have a form that is acceptable and that is comely and that is well favored. What does that mean, though? What does that mean? 1 Corinthians 4 and verse 8. It reads, now you are full, now you are rich, you have reigned as kings without us, and I would to God you did reign, that we also might reign with you. When we're hearing that the sons of men do not have, as this individual character does have, a marred visage, we are hearing that the sons of men are perfect. But perfect, how and in what way? 1 Corinthians 4, 11 to 13. Even unto this present hour, we both hunger and thirst and are naked and are buffeted and have no certain dwelling place, and labor, working with our hands, being reviled, we bless, being persecuted, we suffer it, being defamed, we entreat, we are made as the filth of the world, and are the offscoring of all things unto this day. They are the opposite, the sons of men, of the filth of the world, and they are the opposite of the offscoring of all things. They're perfect, completely perfect. But that's really not how they look in reality. In reality, they look perfect. In reality, they look beautiful. In reality, they are the most wonderful. And we're talking about the sons of men here, quote unquote sons of men here. This isn't the general population. This is a specific audience, the sons of men. Compared to the character in Isaiah 52 and 53, the main subject, who is marred and who is contrary to all of this, they are lovely. But in reality, they really aren't. Because what do they actually look like in reality? Going into the book of the Revelation 3:17, because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. The world sees the sons of men as perfect, as clothed, as housed, as kept in, as sound, as secure, as having a decent and favorable human and spiritual existence. But in reality, a spiritual existence, a human existence similar to what we find of John's parents, who were perfect and righteous because they maintained what they maintained, the philosophy of the religious law. But in reality, they are the ugliest that can be observed. And there's a stipulation here. And the author of Isaiah is making this very clear, is that if you cannot look just as ugly as them, we're going to see what that means. If you cannot look just as ugly as them, you cannot and will never be accepted. That's what we're seeing in the book of Isaiah 52 and 53.
In a world bound by tradition, imagine liberating your spiritual journey beyond structured norms. Discover why it is important to devote time to mentally claiming your spirituality. Let the Bible guide and enrich your devotional culture, transcending a traditional religious experience. Consider meditating on the Bible's mind to better experience a spirituality that is personal and profound. Embrace the sanctuary of the Bible's words to connect deeply with your inner spiritual landscape. Reflect on what you think you know, creating a personalized path to enlightenment. Your spiritual journey is uniquely yours. Let personal mental devotional culture guide you beyond the conventional into a realm of personal devotion.
When we jump into the 52nd and the 53rd chapters of the book of Isaiah, and we are observing the critique of the countenance, the visage, the appearance, the comeliness of the main subject therein, we have to be able to understand that this is not literal. This critique is not against the literal appearance of an individual. This is a critique against the devotional character of an individual. This is an individual's religious or devotional appearance. And the religious and devotional appearance of this individual is seen as being corrupt. It's seen as being disfigured. Why? Going back, Isaiah 53 and verse 2, "For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him." It is because he has no beauty or form that he is not desired. But what is the form or the beauty that this individual character lacks? And remember, this is specific to audience, the sons of men. Now, what's going on there concerning the sons of men and their beauty? Going into the book of Hebrews. Hebrews 5. Who are the sons of men? Just very quick verse. Hebrews 5 and verse 1. "For every high priest taken from among men is ordained for men in things pertaining to God, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins." This is a very quick verse of which I've illustrated on countless occasions, but just to get this out there, the sons of men are priests created or generated or given birth to from through priests. The sons of men are priests that have given birth to priests. That's why they're called the sons of men. Now, there's a specific code of appearance that you must don, that you must have in order to be able, and quote unquote appearance, to be accepted by the sons of men. There is a specific form that one needs to have in order to be accepted by the sons of men. What is that form? This form also, can't forget, is the beauty of the sons of men. If we can get this form down, lock it in to understand what it is, we can understand the beauty that that main character in Isaiah 53 lacks. Going into the book of Romans. Romans 2:17-20. "Behold, thou art called a Jew and restest in the law, and makest thy boast of God, and knowest his will, and approvest the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law, and art confident that thou art a guide to the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the" what? "An instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of truth." Where? which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. The form and the beauty of the sons of men is the form of the knowledge and the truth that is within the religious law. It is only via the religious law that one is made beautiful. And again, state a context here. The one that is made beautiful is always one that is held into the arena of the sons of men, because that's the issue concerning this individual in Isaiah 52 and 53. Philippians 3 and 6, just to get an idea of what this sounds like concerning zeal, persecuting the church, touching the righteousness which is in the law, blameless. So when we go back to Isaiah 53 in verse 2, he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. We're supposed to understand that this particular minister that's referenced is without the philosophy of the religious law. On the scene of action, he does not abide by it. On the scene of action, he is against it. On the scene of action, he is rejected and refused due to him not acknowledging the relevance of the philosophy of the religious law. This individual despises. And we can understand the narrative throughout the book of Isaiah gives that understanding. But what they're saying in their 52nd chapter and in their 53rd chapter, this individual is seen as ugly because he lacks the philosophy of the religious law. So when we're seeing this individual without beauty, without form, without comeliness, and the context is fixed to the audience of the sons of men, we're supposed to understand that the individual minister, the individual priest, the individual messenger that is referenced as the subject here does not tolerate the philosophy of the religious law, and we can fairly conclude that his message is a message against it. So then when we go into the book of John, we can understand that the author there has it right. Going into the book of John 9:28 and 29. Then they reviled him and said, Thou art his disciple, but we are Moses' disciple. We know that God spoke unto Moses, but as for him, we don't know where he came from. Why? Why don't they know from whence he was? Why don't they know where he came from? Not he literally, his voice, his visage. Why don't they know where that came from? Nehemiah 10:29. They clave to their brethren, their nobles, and entered into a curse and into an oath to walk in God's law, which was given by Moses, the servant of God, and to observe and do all the commandments of the Lord our God, and his judgments and his statutes. They know that quote unquote God spoke to quote unquote Moses because of how they are serving their quote unquote deity in the moment. Moses was believed. Moses was entrusted because he maintained the code of acceptance. So when it comes to being an acceptable religious individual, when it comes to becoming an acceptable universal world ruling religion, the number one thing that you need for that is religious law and philosophy abiding by it. If you do not have a religion with a philosophy of the religious law, if you do not have a religion with a religious law, you are counterfeit. If you do not have a religion that you can go back and cite, that has a manual of a scripted and dictated experience, supposedly given by quote unquote God, you are seen as fraudulent, and whatever you are seeing cannot be accepted because it's not following the code of acceptance. not following the code of acceptance. This is why that individual was not accepted. This is why that individual should not be desired. He can't be desired. He can't. Because he's failing to match the ethical standard of what it means to be a soldier, to be a minister, to be an advocate for quote unquote God. And again, still, John has it right. John chapter 5. John 5:41-44, I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of God in you. I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that cometh from God only? Are we seeing this controversy here? One only attains religious celebrity when they can present a familiar version of quote unquote God by traditional means. The ultimate standard, the ultimate paradigm, the ultimate route for a particular religion to be accepted into the public and secular domain has to fall back down to the religious law. If you cannot make use of the religious law in what you're saying, if you cannot bring the religious law into your quote unquote conversations with quote unquote deity, you cannot and you will not be accepted. Because the paradigm that this earth is, there's no getting away from this. The paradigm that this earth is entrapment by religious law. That's the paradigm of this earth. The paradigm of our human body is that it gets sick and it gets healthy. The paradigm of our human body is that it gets sick and eventually dies. The paradigm of our human body is that it has the ability to think and to formulate thought for reasonable actions. The paradigm for earth is religious law and religion by it. Anything contrary to that, you're going against the encoded script that this realm of earth is made in and with and by, and it can't be accepted. This individual, Isaiah 52, Isaiah 53, they are not desired. They have no beauty. They have no comeliness. Bear in mind, they have a lot of beauty. They have a lot of comeliness. They have a lot of form. But to the general, keeping this central to the context, population of the sons of men, they have none of it. They can't be accepted. They can't be desired. They're contrary. And being contrary, there's only one consequence for such an individual like that. They can't be here any longer.
Ever wondered how to truly connect with the Bible? In just 60 seconds, you'll discover a unique way to deepen your faith. Knowing Bible is a course crafted to bring you closer to the Bible and yourself. Tailored to fit your learning goals, it offers a personal journey. Through readings, reflections, and interactive classroom dynamics, you'll grow spiritually. Assignments are designed to give you space for personal devotion. This course helps you envision a devotional experience that truly suits you. Imagine a course that meets you where you are and takes you deeper. Don't miss this chance to transform your spiritual life. Click the link in the description for more information.
The author, putting together the 52nd and the 53rd chapters of the book of Isaiah, they're giving us the standard ministerial pattern for quote-unquote Israel. What's the standard ministerial pattern? Quote-unquote Israel hates religious law. Religious law hates quote-unquote Israel. Priesthood, or quote-unquote sons of men, hate quote-unquote Israel. Quote-unquote Israel hates the priesthood, or quote-unquote sons of men. Continuing, quote-unquote Israel is unrecognizable to the religious world because quote-unquote Israel does not have the same encoded paradigm within their visage, not literal, within the appearance of their devotional conversation as do the sons of men. They are therefore rejected and unrecognizable. This is quote-unquote Israel. This is the intended the intended experience for any individual that would voice the philosophy at the center, at the core of the Bible, of the scriptures. But there's a problem, because when you get into the Jesus character, we see beauty, we see form, and we see comeliness. Going into the book of 1 Corinthians, as an example, 11:23-25, for I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Jesus, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also, he took the cup when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do you, as oft as you drink it, in remembrance of me. What is this? What are we reading here? Well, in Bible language, we are reading what is called, quote unquote, beauty, or what is called, quote unquote, form. This is form acceptable. This is beauty acceptable. The main character in Isaiah 52 and Isaiah 53, they are without this. This does not exist to them. And remember the context for the audience of which these chapters are relating to when it comes to this main subject, main character in Isaiah 52 and 53, which is the audience, the context of the sons of men. Everything pertaining to them is rejected. This main character in Isaiah 52 and Isaiah 53 looks disfigured. This isn't literal. His devotional conversation looks disfigured. His devotional conversation is perceived to be corrupt. His visage is without beauty, comeliness, or form, because they lack the philosophy of the religious law, the ultimate beauty of the sons of men. So then why are we reading about, if we are going to continue to force this link between the character in Isaiah 53 and the Jesus character, why do we find the Jesus character written of as advocating beauty, as advocating and possessing form? This is a violation of Isaiah 52 and 53, the general ministerial standard pattern for quote-unquote Israel. This is lacking in the Jesus character. Now, the Jesus character is a bit conflicted and confused because this individual, due to the manuscripts that have compiled this character, you can see legitimate philosophy from here in Isaiah within that character, and then at the same time you cannot. Now that scripted scene of the bread and the wine, while in the Matthew, Marks, and Lukes of the world, if we're going to state a history, it begins here with this author writing the Corinthians. And the authors of the Gospels, they have taken what they are seeing here and they're putting it in to their narrative. And they're ultimately doing so to let their individual audience know that their main character is not Isaiah 52, Isaiah 53's main subject, primary target, main character, quote unquote Israel. We are not reading about the same individual, which is, again, via the Christian theory, forced into the gospel narrative from Isaiah 52 and 53 when we get into the Jesus stories. The philosophy is different. The character is different. Nevertheless, the authors of the Gospels maintain this same principle and articulate it within their character. They articulate this within their character of a controversy, necessary controversy, as illustrated by the death of their main character against the philosophy of the religious law. They nevertheless fall victim to allowing their main character to yet endorse, while despising the philosophy of the religious law of himself. So, am I being too critical of the Jesus character when there is abundant wisdom and understanding of the standard ministerial, quote unquote, Israel experience and conversation from Genesis to Malachi? The answer is no. So when it comes to the Jesus character, we have to wake up. We have to wake up And we have to be able to understand the intended experience that the core of the scriptures is calling the individual devotional conversation towards, and then what everything else is calling the individual devotional conversation away from.